Things fall apart in Edo PDP as Obaseki and party's alliance hits bump. When Governor Obaseki and many of his supporters defected from the All Progressive Congress APC to the People's Democratic Party PDP before the September 19th, 2020 governorship election in Edo State due to his disqualification by the APC, some political analysts had opined that it was a marriage that may not last, but many people did not believe that crisis would erupt so soon, barely 8 months after the election, which Obaseki won. As of today, Obaseki has not been able to form a government, but the announcement by the Secretary to the State Government SSG, Osaridion Oge, on Wednesday of the appointment of Honorable Osiagbovo Iyoha as the governor's chief of staff tactically closed the door against any of the members he met in the PDP being part of his kitchen cabinet. Iyoha has been a very close ally, and he was the first member in the State House of Assembly then to publicly declare his support for Obaseki's election in 2016. He already has his dependable deputy, Honorable Philip Shaibu and Oge, who has been the strategist operating behind the scene for the governor. The leadership of the party in the state is in disarray with the purported suspension of the state chairman, Honorable Tony Aziegbemi, and a three-man committee set up to investigate allegations against him. His deputy, Harrison Omagbon, has been asked to take his place as acting chairman, even though Aziegbemi has denied being removed from office. He agreed that there are issues in the party that necessitated the setting up of a committee. To confirm the crisis in the party, Omagbon issued a statement as acting chairman calling on members to remain calm and promise he would reunite the state party. Observers believe that the PDP in Edo State is missing people like the late former chairman of the Board of Trustees of the party, Chief Tony Aneni, who could rally all the divides together, but the party, as it is right now, has several warlords across the three senatorial districts holding onto their areas of strength and struggling to outdo one another. The crisis in the party is multifaceted. Members are not united, and there are those who call themselves original members of the PDP who are not united, and then the governor who came with his supporters from the APC. Sunday Vanguard gathered that Obaseki has decided to move ahead with his strategies to take over the party, where the original members may have to bow to him before they can retain their membership of the party. The crisis in the party is believed to have started shortly after the election when some leaders of the party believe they should have a say in the governor's appointment. Some of the leaders, it was gathered, told Obaseki to immediately dissolve the board of Edo State Internal Revenue Services, EIRS, and that of Edo State Oil and Gas Producing Area Development Commission. But they were said to have been miffed when the governor declined and told them that he was planning to extend the tenure of the EIRS board. The governor also reportedly requested that the leader of the party, the leadership of the PDP from the ward to the state levels, be dissolved and a mini congress conducted to infuse these members who came with him from APC, particularly the former state chairman of the APC, Anselm Ojezwa, and members of his state working committee, SWC, but this was also rejected by the leaders of the PDP. This led to some of them instituting a court case in Abuja to stop the governor from tampering with the leadership of the party. Obaseki since then reportedly reduced his interaction with the leadership of the PDP, and it became a case of the governor working with two sets of state working committees, Ojezwa and his team, that came from the APC, and the elected PDP SWC headed by Tony Aziegbemi. About 3 weeks ago, Obaseki met with leaders who it was alleged he personally selected, that included former Foreign Affairs Minister Chief Tom Ikimi, former Deputy Governor Chief Mike Ogiadome, High Chief Raymond Dokpesi, and Aziegbemi, where he was said to have informed them of his plan to dissolve the PDP SWC and call for fresh Congress. Irked by the decision, the SWC met and wrote a strongly worded letter to the national leadership of the party protesting the plot to dissolve leadership of the party, and also frowned at the delay in appointment of commissioners. In the letter to the national chairman of the party, Prince Uche Secondus, and signed by Aziegbemi and the state secretary of the party, Hilary Otsu, which they said was part of the resolution passed in the emergency and expanded state working committee meeting of the party. They frowned at the state leaders' meeting where it was resolved that the leadership of the party at all levels be dissolved. They also alleged that the said meeting was called to ambush the state chairman of the party, who they said was in the minority with only 3 leaders of the party as against 10 who came with Obaseki. They alleged that the governor was being misled by 3 categories of people in the party, which they identified as aspirants for 2023 and 2024 elections, members of the party who lost during the party's congresses, and alleged godfathers they said came with the governor from APC to the PDP, who they said have refused to register with the party in their words. In a swift reaction, Obaseki summoned a meeting that had Azegbemi and members of the State Working Committee and Ojezwa and his team, where the governor said was to have made some revelations that the meeting he called earlier was suggested by a high-profile leader of the party, name withheld, and that the political figure was the one who suggested most of the names to be invited for the meeting, but shockingly, the same person did not show up on the D-Day and even allegedly encouraged some of the persons he suggested not to attend. The governor was said to have informed the meeting that his intention was to make the PDP strong and that the people at the grassroots must be carried along and be part of the decision making rather than the existing style where decisions are breathed down to followers. Sunday Vanguard source said, after the governor explained his intentions, they asked for time to suggest a way forward, and the governor gave 48 hours for that to be done. He also explained to them that himself, his deputy, and the SSG were in the meeting he held earlier by virtue of their position and not there to represent any interest. However, Sunday Vanguard gathered that the governor may have concluded plans to take over the party irrespective of the positions of those opposed to him using 2 strategies. The strategies it was learnt includes the appointment of the national leadership of the PDP to organize e-registration of members of the party nationwide. It was also gathered that he has appointed coordinators across the 18 local government areas of Edo, and many of them are said to be local government chairmen who came with him from APC to handle the planned registration. He's also said to have set up a committee largely made up of those who came with him from the APC to suggest people he would need in his cabinet. In a related development, which seemed to be part of the plot to take over the party, a congress was called in Ego local government area by loyalists of Obaseki and suspended the chairman of the party in the council, Manfred Ekundayo, and Secretary Moses Osaru Wense. Addressing members of the party at the party secretariat near 5 Junction in Uselu, Assistant Secretary of the PDP in Ego, Ikpo Egwavo, announced the former Deputy Chairman of PDP, Ayo Efosa, as the acting chairman of the party in the local government and pledged their support for Obaseki. A statement signed by the 8 members of the party executive, including Efosa, Egbavon, auditor of the party Dixon Obazi, 3 ex-official members, Honorable Paul Osare Wande, Alhaji O. Ebo Wonyi, and Fumi Osiabulu, including Idemudia Stanley and Ekato Stanley, who are both ward chairman, accused the suspended officials of not allowing the national leadership of the party to resolve the crisis in PDP in the state, among other issues. The statement passed a vote of confidence on Obaseki Shaibu Oge and the PDP coordinator in Ego, Chief Odion Olaye. Sunday Vanguard gathered, with a success in Ego, the same action is to take place across other local government areas in the state, and this was done in Akoko Edo local government area where the meeting was hugely successful in line with Obaseki's intentions. It was reliably gathered that loyalists of the governor held meeting in several local governments few days ago with only one agenda, which is to redefine their relationship with the PDP. When Sunday Vanguard contacted the National Vice Chairman South of the party, Chief Dan Obi, on the development, he said the issue had not been brought to his attention and he would not want to comment on what had not been brought before his office and referred us to the state chairman. But a member of the party who spoke on condition of anonymity said the crisis is multifaceted. The original PDP members are not united. They are fighting themselves. And then you have the governor and those who came with him. and are bent on taking over the party. This thing is being caused by lack of leadership in the PDP. The governor is already working with Abuja, even though the issue that the governor is the leader of the party is not in the constitution of the PDP. It was the making of former President Obasanjo, but the national leadership can decide to wade into the crisis, and they are most likely to be with the governor. The end result might be the governor tampering with the party executive or quasi harmonization that may not last. A leader of the party and former commissioner for information in the state, Honorable Charles Idahosa, said the best option for the party was harmonization. He said the problem in Edo PDP is a group of people who got used to not winning elections. According to him, such people use party structure to collect money from neighboring state government and share among, as they are not really interested in government. It is a small clique holding the party to ransom. How will you say that the governor is the leader of the party and then you insist that you will not harmonize? Just like me, I'll be looking at you people. I cannot even produce a councillor in my ward because I don't have anybody in the ward executive, Idahosa said. There's a precedent. Edo is not the first. Governor Aminu Tambuwa moved in Sokoto, they harmonized. Governor Samuel Otom of Benue moved and they harmonized. In the same vein, the senator representing Edo South, Matthew Irugode, called on members of the SWC to apologize to the governor. Speaking at the stakeholders meeting he had in his residence, the senator said his zone, in a 3-point communique, accepted the leadership of Obaseki without reservations. According to the senator, Edo South PDP expressed implicit confidence in Obaseki and his ability to pilot the affairs of the party in the state, and also handed over the entire structure of the PDP to him. And 3, we directed all members of the State Working Committee who are from Edo South to go and append their signatures to the letter of apology to the governor over the letter the State Working Committee sent to the national body. Urugwide added. He warned party members to abide by the constitution of the PDP, which forbids members from making public critical comments about the policies and actions of government controlled by it. He said, those who decamped from the APC were once PDP members. It is foolhardy to say you don't want people to join you. We cannot bring down our own party that is in government. If Chief Aneni were to be alive today, he would have been the happiest man. It took us 12 years to get back to power in the state, and we have a duty to sustain the government and the party.